Welcome, everybody, to another Thursday Spiritual Matters. I am your host, Dr. Monikah Ogando, and I have a quote for you that's going to kind of exemplify the theme for today's episode. And it is a quote from an HD expert, human design expert, Brittany Eastman. Her quote is, "Human design is all about unbecoming all of the things that are not in alignment with your authentic wholeness." That was a mic drop moment. Welcome to Daily Huddle, Thursday Spiritual Matters. Welcome, my friends. Welcome, welcome. Everybody from the East, everybody from the West, everybody from the North, everybody from the South. Welcome. That was a little Robin fairy dust sprinkled all over everybody. He was here a couple of weeks ago. Stacy, I have a question for you. Who are you? How are you? And what are you grateful for today?
I like the who am I?
Yeah, we might add that.
I love that. I'm sorry, question. Okay.
How are you? And
how are you?
What are you grateful for?
Okay, how am I? I am how I say I am, right? So I am thoroughly excited. As I said a moment ago, I just finished listening to some Bon Jovi, took it back to 1986 to my 14-year-old self. I am feeling great. And what am I grateful for? I am grateful for finishing up a lot of really awesome freelance work and being very, very successful at it this week. So I'm killing the game right now.
Awesome. That's exciting. That's awesome. Well, welcome. Tara is here. Tara, yay. Where are you? And who are you going to hug today?
Good morning. Good morning. I am delighted to be exactly right here and nowhere else. I am all in this morning. And I will hug the master hugger, my husband, today.
Oh, yay. And what were you drinking there? That looked delicious. Is that hot chocolate?
No, black decaf.
Oh, black decaf. See, a true warrior for the cause. That's what they drink. Well, welcome, everybody. I'm so excited that you are here. We have a very special guest with us today, and that is my friend and colleague and just human design expert that I always keep in my back pocket. You have no idea how many things she has taken me out of and explained to me. It's like, oh, that's why I'm tripping. Oh. So welcome, Kelly Lynn, to the Daily Huddle. I'm so excited to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. I'm always excited to be invited into spaces of fellowship with other smart and beautiful and spiritual folks.
Yay! I'm excited that you're here. So I want to hear it in your own words about how you got into Kelly Lynn, into human design, because I know that, you have 25 plus years of experience. You're a recovered ex-cult member. And what I know about you is that you're in service to humanity. You do it through your yoga classes, you do it through your coaching, you do it through Tantra, etc. So I want to hear in your own words, like, what got you into human design?
What got me into human design? Well, I first heard about human design through social media. I saw people talking about it, and I was like, "What is that?" So, what ensued from there was me figuring out what it was, and what's interesting is I am a natural teacher and researcher. So when things like this come up for me, it's natural. I go down the rabbit hole and I figure out what stuff is and why. 5. So human design is a, it's 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 what I would call a modern evolution of some really ancient systems. So human design is a synthesis of astrology, numerology, the I Ching or the I Ching, Kabbalah, and the chakra system.
Mm-hmm.
So the human design chakra system is, like I said, it's an evolution. It's a 9 chakra system. So we're used to,
Seven.
the seven chakras, and it's not that the 7 chakras are incorrect. We've just evolved as a species, and we actually have hundreds of chakras in our body. But when we're talking about 7 chakras and 9 chakras, you'll also hear people talk about 11 or 13 chakras. We're talking about major energy centers in the body.
Right. So we wanna make sure that people understand that it's not like there's a right way to do it or a wrong way to do it. It's more like different frameworks have different come froms, as it were, and they take different variables inside of it. And because human design takes, like you said, the I Ching and from other ancient traditions, then that conglomeration has lended itself to that 9 chakra system. And it looks like the tree of life. You're going to show us a chart. You guys,
yes.
I made myself the sacrificial lamb because I know a lot of times people are like, wait, first of all, what is the human design system? What are all these lines and what does this all mean? So I've made myself the sacrificial lamb. Kelly's going to pull up my human design chart, and we're going to go through it and explain to you what each piece looks like, right, Kelly?
Yeah. So we're gonna go over some of the basics, because we could easily spend a long time going over all of this stuff.
Right.
But, for the sake of this forum, we're gonna keep it relatively simple. Hopefully you'll see some things that that you haven't seen before, and you'll come out of this with a little more curiosity.
All right, let's see. First, let's get some share screen situation handled. And then we'll get the chart up. Lisa, can we give Kelly some share screen rights? There you go. You got it, Kelly?
I'm not able to share yet.
Oh. Ready?
Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is a human design chart.
Yay.
The site, and you can go onto this particular site. This is the site that
so jovianarchive.com.
Yes, jovianarchive.com. This is the official site. There's many different sites, but this is the official site from the creator of the system. His name is Ra Uru Hu. He did cross over a few years back, but this was a system that was downloaded to him, and this came out in the early 90s. So that's why I say it's an evolution of these ancient systems. So he took these ancient systems and synthesized them through the downloads he was given and created this very thorough and complex system.
Okay. So the first thing that I notice is that there is line of planets on the left, there's a line of planets on the right, and then there are some colors and some pieces that are organized along the human body, and that some of them are colored and some of them are not, and they have numbers in them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're going to come back to this in just a moment. I want to actually go over here to the chart properties.
Okay, fantastic.
So you have an aura type. There are 5 different aura types. Monikah happens to be a manifesting generator, which is, she's actually a hybrid of a manifester, and a generator. So you have manifestors, you have generators, and you have manifesting generators.
So there's 3 right there.
And there's 3 right there.
Yep.
And then you have projectors and you have reflectors.
Okay.
So knowing your aura type is pretty important. It's kind of like the foundation of it all. Like what's your aura type?
So what does it mean to be a manifesting generator, and what does it mean to be like reflector, projector, etc.?
Okay, so let's start with generators. 70% of people are generators or manifesting generators. So the majority of people are generators. What it means to be a generator. So the strategy of a generator is to respond. So we are conditioned in Western society in particular that we're all supposed to be out here grinding and making things happen.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually only true of manifestors.
Okay.
Manifestors have the energy and the ability. They have a very strong and powerful aura. So they're able to actually, and they are the initiators of action.
Yeah.
Manifestors are the only type that the correct way of being for them is to initiate action. The rest of us are, the majority of us, we are to respond.
Okay.
And what that means is we are doing things, and what do I want to say? Let me find my words. So the strategy is to respond, but we are meant to seek out satisfaction.
Okay.
So instead of using our mind to try and figure things out, we all have an inner authority, which there's different inner authorities as well. Monikah happens to have a sacral inner authority. And what that means is she responds through sound. So when asked a yes or no question, she's able to respond, and she gets that mm-hmm or an so she's a manifesting generator, but that means she operates as a generator first. So what I'm talking about here is being a generator and responding and seeking out satisfaction in your life versus doing what you think you should do, or trying to act like a manifester when you're actually a generator.
Right. So if I'm making sense of what you're saying, then that means that I am putting myself in a position where the things that bring me pleasure can come to me, and then I can discern from my sacral response, like that gut feeling. The sacral is here in the right below your belly button. So this gut reaction of like, yes, this is good for me, or no, I don't resonate with that. And that usually comes through vocalization. Because anybody that knows me knows that I'm pretty into this one. I didn't know that I was into this one. I didn't know that this was the language for it. I didn't articulate it as human design. But typically when somebody comes and brings me something, I'm like, yeah, no, that, or, ooh, okay. You know, so those responses I've become accustomed to. And then now you're saying, you know, the sacral usually responds like that with vocalization. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm on track.
Yes. And because I know Monikah, I know, and like once you start learning these things, you hear these things in other people, because it's something that they will naturally do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's being a generator. And as a manifesting generator, you're actually a generator first.
Mm-hmm.
So once you have magnetized something, an opportunity to yourself,
then you can initiate.
Then you can initiate action and really like.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Because when I don't do that, then that's where the not self theme happens, and that's frustration.
Yes.
Okay, it's
So
making sense to me.
the not self theme. So let me put this in. This is my favorite way to describe human design. Human design is cheat codes to get to your higher self.
Mm-hmm.
So strategy and inner authority, if there's nothing else that you take from human design, learn what your aura type is, learn what your strategy is, learn what your inner authority is.
Mm-hmm.
They're cheat codes to help you get to your true self. And I feel like that's why this is so important, is we have been conditioned to, society has homogenized us, and society wants us all to be the same and do things all the same. And that's the beauty of human design. We are all extremely unique. So even if someone else here is a manifesting generator with a sacral inner authority and a 1-3 profile, your design could look totally different.
Right.
It could look totally different. And just for contrast, I'm going to show you my chart. You see how Monikah, she has a lot of colored in centers.
So the colored in centers are called defined centers, and the
Those
ones
are
that are
defined
white
centers.
are undefined.
And a defined center is, it's like fixed energy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas where these are open.
So does the fact that I have an undefined head center or crown chakra, or that triangle at the top,
Mm-hmm.
does the fact that I have an undefined head center mean that I'm loopy, or that I'm creative, or that I just take everybody's opinions as my own? Like, what does it mean?
It means that you're more receptive here. So if these are fixed, that means that where you're open, you're more receptive. And let's use a little bit of a, I guess, kind of a hot word.
Mm-hmm.
You're empathic in those areas.
Okay, so an open head center is for somebody that can consider multiple points of view at one time.
Yes. Yes.
Stand for the and, Gio. I told you.
Okay,
I told you
so
I'm the stand for the and person.
This is what Monikah's chart looks like.
Yep.
I think this one is mine. That's what my chart looks like.
Oh, you're open everywhere.
So I'm open. Yes, I am very open. So I have to ask myself a lot, is this mine?
Mm-hmm.
Because so Monikah, so let's just use you and I as an example. When we get together, because you're so defined, you bring me online in all of these areas where I'm open.
Mm-hmm.
So when we come together, like I have a lot more fixed energy when we come together because I'm open here. So these areas of openness amplify other people's energy.
Mm-hmm. Got it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So then what happens when I want to approach a project and it's not working? Where should I be looking for some human design wisdom about what might be going on?
A project that's not working.
Yeah,
if you're frustrated, so the not self theme is frustration. If you're feeling frustrated about something,
mm-hmm.
there's probably you probably have not followed your strategy and inner authority.
Okay, that makes sense to me. So when I'm trying to force something, I'm trying to make something work, and then it doesn't happen, it's typically because I initiated before I had a chance to respond first.
Well, let's back up a little bit. So let's say you get an opportunity and you like, your mind thinks it's a good opportunity. So you think it's a good opportunity, but you don't check in with your gut. You don't check in with how it feels in your body. And so let's look at this profile. You're a 1-3. I call the 1-3 the mad scientist, because the 1-3 is all about trial and error.
Okay.
So and because of that, you will actually learn a lot from making mistakes.
Right. Experience it so that I can learn it, embody it.
So
and there are different profiles, right? So there's like a 2-6 and a 5-4 and a blah blah blah. And I haven't quite gotten my head around all of that, but I know that when you explained to me what a 1-3 was, I was like, oh my God, she's all in my Kool-Aid. She knows me too well.
So I wanna point out one other thing about, and I feel like we're jumping around a little bit, but I think it's okay. So where the lines are connecting the different chakra centers, like this is all solid versus like this one is a half C. These are called hanging gates. This is called a channel. So when it connects from one chakra all the way down to another, that is called a channel. Now, when I pulled your chart up last night, I was like, of course Monikah has the money channel. You work in finance.
Right.
So I just thought it was so interesting to see that you have the money line.
Yes.
And it's on your design side. So it's in red here. So it's like you embody it.
So what's the difference between design and personality?
This is the embodiment. This is the physical. This is your personality. It's,
Okay.
So I think Gio has a question.
Yes, let's talk to Gio here.
Thank you. So since I am someone who has never necessarily seen this more, so I think I saw it before one time. I think, Monikah, you had
I've made your chart.
A small, slight conversation around it, but other than that, I've never been around this conversation. So my brain is really challenged by making references to the possibility of this. And so I wanted to ask to see if you guys can guide some of us like me who is challenged to putting the dots together. I'm looking for the and unfortunately, I'm looking for the usefulness of it. Like, what is this good for? Knowing this, how does this empower? This empowers, or why did someone many years ago discover this thing? Why was it useful then? What does it allow? What opens up? So I want to kind of start from there for people like me who have no idea what this is about.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question. So what this opens up for you is when we've been conditioned to not be who we truly are uniquely. We've been conditioned to think that we are all the same and that we're supposed to be doing things all the same. So what this brings online for you as an individual is it gives you your unique blueprint and your unique signature, like your fingerprint. You are very unique, and you don't operate the way that maybe your boss expects you to, or that your colleagues expect you to, or that your partner expects you to. What this brings online for you is the path to your own uniqueness and deconditioning yourself from the expectations that others have knowingly or unknowingly put on you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think he has a follow-up.
Well, it's an inquiry there's not a question per se, given that I'm not looking for an answer necessarily. I am looking to understand the possibility of this. It's not giving me answers to anything, given that I'm not asking questions of anything. But neither does religion to me. Neither does anything like that. So I can't see this like, this is my blueprint. No, it's not. I challenge that that's my blueprint. Like somebody said, you're Catholic. No, I'm not. I challenge that that's not, So, but I want to understand this really complex blueprint to see it. It's got to make sense somewhere, even for people like me. It's got to make sense. So I'm looking for that.
Well, here's what I'll add to the conversation, Giovanni, is that when you can see, and for example, human design explains certain things to me that hadn't made sense before. For example, I typically do better and I'm much more successful in projects and relationships, etc., where I allow things to be magnetized to me and then I interact with it, versus initiating something just because it feels like a good idea, because I got to be doing something, because what am I doing just sitting here, et cetera, et cetera. And I used to feel bad about, wait, I got to come up with something. Where are my goals? And it's January and how come I don't have goals yet? And da 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 da. And to understand that it's like your strategy is to respond first, like let it come to you first. And then from there you engage. When I understood that when I got that from human design, it gave me a little bit of an understanding of like, oh, so I've been making myself wrong for something that comes very naturally to me. Because I've been making myself wrong for not initiating. I've been making myself wrong for waiting for things to come to me. And that feels passive. That feels, like not practical, right? So
is there like Tara and Ronald is saying how
is this tested? I just saw the chat.
Peer review comes into this. Is there an element? This is my last question, and then you guys answer something else. Is there the horoscope, like the Leo, all of that?
Yeah.
There's a sense of relatedness for me. I kind of love it. But there's also an aspect of buying into it. There's not real science to it other than buying into it. And it's kind of cool to buy into it. Just, it's like a superstition. If you go too far, then you'll get lost. But anyway, is it a little bit like a horoscope?
Well, no,
there's more science into this.
You're kind of reducing astrology, and I'm glad you brought up astrology because that's the one that we're going to talk about next week. But you're kind of reducing astrology to like a paragraph in a newspaper that says, "Here's your week for the thing, Pisces, and blah blah blah," and it's a little bit more complex than that. And so, the conversation about human design, yes, there's scientific sources for it, and yes, there's origin for the numbers. And what I encourage everybody to do is, number one, get your chart at Jovian Archive. It's free. You could just plug in your birth numbers, your birth date, etc., and it'll give it to you. And then number two, do your own research. For example,
I want to show you on this particular site, so you can go down here and you can go to, this is called a body graph. So you can open your chart in My Body Graph, and it gives you a little, like, it's clickable. It's not going to be the end all be all of information, but you're going to get, you can kind of look at some of these things and read a little bit. So like, let's look here. There it is. There's the channel of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you the planet, and it just gives you more information. So if you want to go more in depth, you can start here. Also, go to YouTube. There is infinite information on YouTube if you want to go down the rabbit hole on this. Or the other option is you hire an analyst to go over your chart with you.
Yeah. So everyone born on the same day in the same time zone has the same design? Not necessarily.
No.
Not necessarily. Because you might be born on the different year, and you have a different astrological alignment. So that astrological alignment also informs your human design. Because again, human design is kind of a hybrid because it takes from all of those pieces, right? Sorrel, you have a question.
Yes, Dr. Monica and Kelly, thank you so much for bringing this up. I'm aligning with Giovanni, and I want to bring us back to the original intention of this conversation for me, which is how can I use human design to enhance my spiritual maturity?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to hear the spiritual connection for you. You got yours done, you got the analysis done, and there's something that it awakens that takes it beyond just being another tool, another strategy to enhance my ability as a human being. I want to hear about the connection to your spirituality.
So when Kelly did my chart and she explained my chart to me, it opened up a lot of things that I didn't have answers to before, one of which I already gave an example. This idea of waiting to respond and magnetizing something to me so that I can take initiation was a huge one for me, because I experienced a lot of frustration out of just trying to come up with something because I thought that was the right thing to do. And I didn't know that I was working against my strategy until I learned about human design. The other thing that that opened up for me was this idea. I've always been the person that is kind of like the devil's advocate, or that asks questions, or that reframes a particular way of thinking with my family, with my clients, with my friends, etc. And when I saw the Open Head Center, it was like, oh, this is why. Because I'm not attached to I'm not fixed in a particular way of thinking. So I can consider different points of view, and I can present this and I can reframe it and not feel like I'm being personally attacked because my points of view are being attacked, or that I somehow reject something just because I don't have enough information. And so a lot of times that's what people do. It's like, because I don't have enough information, this doesn't make sense to me, so bump it, I'll throw it away. Versus me, it's like, when I don't have enough information, I get curious instead of dismissive. And so those
That's
are the
very
pieces.
1-3, because the first line is the investigator.
Right. So these are the kinds of things like, oh, okay. And then I got curious about the things that did resonate, got me curious about the things that didn't resonate. And then I started getting curious about, well, what does this mean about the planets? And why are these things centered? And what do these numbers mean? And how come these are connected? And what the heck does triple definition or triple split definition mean? Does that mean that I'm a multitasker? Does that mean I'm ADHD? What does this mean? And so I started just going deeper down the rabbit hole, as Kelly says, and it allowed me to open up different pieces of who I am and how I show up in a way that feels very authentic to me. And then there are other pieces that don't work for me. Sometimes it doesn't work to just wait to respond. Sometimes you do have to take action. And what piece of my energy can I hang on to so that then I can harness that? Does that answer your question, Sorrel?
Yes, Dr. Monikah, thank you. It points to this for me, that as a human being, I have some innate tendencies, and human design can actually reveal to me what those are, so I can actually own them rather than resist them.
And then leverage.
Well, and here's another thing. Some of the things that we do are part of our not being our true self. So when you start learning this, there's what's called a deconditioning process. So, you may have been out here operating like a manifester, and you're not a manifester. So when you make the decision to shift that and to live your life in a more aligned way to your design, you may open up things and opportunities that you didn't have before, because you're willing to look at things in a different way according to how you're designed versus how you think, or that you've been conditioned to be.
Yeah, this is good. Now, I know that we're running out of time. I know we've run out of time. It's already 5 past the half hour. So I want to thank everybody for sticking with us. I know that we could talk about this for a long, long time. I have been going down the rabbit hole as well from human design, and I thank Kelly for helping me with that. I appreciate you. Like I said, in terms of practical action that you can take right now, if you're curious about this, I'm bringing you information that you can use so that you can see, okay, something resonates, some things don't. If human design resonates with you, go to Jovian Archive and get your chart, and then start getting curious about what does it mean to have this open head center or this closed or this defined center, blah, blah, blah. And find out about the numbers, find out, and get a reading. You can get a reading from Kelly. You can get a reading from a whole bunch of human design analysts. I, of course, recommend Kelly Lynn. That's why I brought her here as a guest expert. And Kelly, how can people get in touch with you?
So my full name is Kelly Lynn Prime, and you can find me on socials, or you can contact me through email, kellylynnprime@gmail.com. Kelly Lynn Prime on Facebook, Kelly Lynn Prime on Instagram.
Awesome.
I'm there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us. I appreciate you. And as always, we leave you with Patty Dabrowski's tenets, as it were, and that is love always, laugh generously, stress less, eat more plant-based, give of yourself, of your time, of your energy, of your talent, sleep, get yourself at least 7 hours of sleep a night, dance, move your tail feather, and of course, my favorite, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Always check your assumptions. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Have a great rest of your week.
That was fascinating. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
That was awesome. Monikah.